Good evening, dear friends. I do apologise. It should have been Sister Miriam doing this evening with her Ascended Mastercards, but we had an email from Miriam to say that she was feeling unwell. So I do apologise for that, and it's lovely to know that Eleanor and Elizabeth are with us. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to share with you an amazing book that was republished in 1984 by Matthew Fox, The Coming of the Cosmic Christ. It is an amazing book, truthfully, and I'll show you the copy of it. And he really does a lot of comparisons using the Cosmic Christ as the blueprint. I would like to just do something that one very rarely does, and that is go to the back of the book and share with you some of the wonderful acknowledgements from various people. And it begins with Fox's most daring, pioneering work yet, stimulating us to the kind of resurrection of values and practice required for planetary salvation. And that's by M. Scott Peck, author of The Road Less Traveled, another wonderful book that I've read. It goes on to say Bishop John Spong, author of Living in Sin. He says, Fox captures, as few theologians have ever done before, the feminine aspects of God, so suppressed in traditional Christianity. Wow. And then Brian Swimmey, author of The Universe is a Green Dragon, he says, the eighth wonder of the world, convincing proof that our Western religious tradition does indeed have the depth of imagination to reinvent its face. And then Joanna Orr Macy, author of Despair and Personal Power in the Nuclear Age, she says this passionate book brings harvest and hope. And then we've got Arthur Waskow, Reconstructionist, Rabbinical College, author of Seasons of Joy and God Wrestling, brings both sustenance for the heart and wisdom for the head to those of us renewing a Jewish mysticism that seeks to heal the world. Now that has got to be one of the most profound compliments. And then, of course, M.C. Richards, author of Centering in Pottery, Poetry and the Person. A wonderfully bold book full of risk and promise. Fox is not the first to call for a metanoia, a change of mind. St. Paul did it. So did the poet Rilke and the scientist Einstein. Prophetic voices now call for a healing of Mother Earth, an experience of cosmic unity. And then, of course, we have Robert Frager, founder and professor of psychology, Institute for Transpersonal Psychology, that's a mouthful. And he says, a brilliant and inspirational synthesis, a message of hope, hope for the mystic in us, the cosmic Christ incarnated in each one of us. So I'm going to read what is given to me, but first, Matthew Fox dedicates his book to many people. But this is what he says. This book is dedicated to the young and to the youth in all of us. May we grant one another the opportunity to live out our dreams, to care for the wounded child in one another, and to pass on to others still unborn An earth as alive and diverse, as wondrous as the one we have inherited. That is so beautifully said. May we grant one another the opportunity to live out our dreams, to care for the wounded child in one another, and to pass on to others still unborn an earth as alive and diverse and wondrous as the one we have inherited. And of course, Meister Eckhart, he says, though we are God's sons and daughters, we do not realize it yet. It's a powerful book, and it certainly should be included in year 2 of our novice formation, because it encompasses the rebirthing of the divine feminine with the cosmic Christ. When you look through the contents, you have in part 1 a dream, your mother is dying, a crucifixion story for our times. Part 2, mysticism, a resurrection story for our times. Part 3, from the quest for the historical Jesus to the quest for the cosmic Christ. A paradigm shift for Western religion. This is making me sing. I'm not an opera singer, but I feel I'm going to start bursting into song when I read this. And then part 4, who is the cosmic Christ? Oh, I feel I'm levitating. In part 5, a vision of the second coming, the healing of Mother Earth, and the birth of a global renaissance. And Sisters Elizabeth has left a comment. Hello all. Yes, hello, hello, hello. We just bought it from Amazon. Oh, yes, I bought mine for 62 pence, sister. 62 pence. Second hand. It smells it. I think this is from the first edition. Hold on. Yes, it is. First edition. Oh, it's strong. It's divine. But I'm guided to read this. And it's about the new Paschal mystery. Matthew says, a second way to envision this book is to describe it as a Paschal mystery story for the 3rd millennium of Christianity, and for a new era of religious belief. Oh, using traditional theological categories, this book might be envisioned as follows. Part 1, the crucifixion of Mother Earth, which is also the crucifixion of Jesus Christ, and the Mother Principle. Part 2, the resurrection of the human psyche by way of an awakened wisdom and mysticism. Parts 3 to 5, the coming of the cosmic Christ, ushering in a global renaissance that can heal Mother Earth and save her by changing human hearts and ways. This book names the Paschal mystery for the 3rd millennium of Christianity. Matricide, mysticism, and the cosmic Christ reveal anew the Paschal story. We have understood as the death, resurrection, and second coming of Jesus the Christ. The death of Mother Earth, matricide, and the resurrection of the human psyche, mysticism, and the coming of the cosmic Christ, a living cosmology, name the mystery of the divine cycle of death and rebirth and sending of the Spirit in our time. Were the human race to believe anew in this mystery, a renaissance would surely occur. Wow, where do you go from there? But do you know, when you hold the book, it literally becomes alive in your hands. You can feel the love from the author. You can almost feel the passion from his heart, through his soul, to the earth. And the words come alive. He says here, there is a deep cosmic imagery in the announcement of this day of Yahweh, this day of healing of the cosmic pain, the mystical awakening that foreshadows a global healing is presented as a cosmic awakening, an awakening to a living cosmology, to a cosmic Christ, alive and vital in all creatures and in all humans, young and old, slave and free, male and female. The Messianic spirit is presented as non-elitist. It will be poured forth on all kinds of persons. Oh. And then there's a quote from Joel. Joel too ends his prophecy with a vision of hope. When that day comes, the mountains will run with the new wine, and the hills flow with milk, and all the riverbeds of Judah will run with water. And Matthew says that Joel is called both the prophet of Pentecost and the prophet of penance. In this book I call for a new Pentecost, a coming of the Messianic spirit to the entire human race and all its religions and cultures. But I also call for penance, absolutely. A deep and radical self-criticism and letting go, especially among my own people. That is, among European or ex-European Christians. We need to let go of the Enlightenment and its worldview that denies mysticism and lacks a cosmology. We need to let go of a religious worldview that bores the young, trivializes Jesus Christ, and renders our spiritual heritage almost impotent. Scientist and mystic Gregory Bateson has commented that we have lost the core of Christianity. How distressing. I agree, for the core must be a vital and living cosmology, a cosmological mysticism, a cosmic Christ. No book I have ever written has shocked me more than this one. That is so amazing to hear those words. Wow. He talks about to do penance for the sin of omission on religion's part means we must let the old paradigm go and commit ourselves with vigor to this newer yet far more ancient paradigm. This means the theology of the cosmic Christ, ignored for centuries, must be reconsidered seriously today. The penance I call for is not merely an individual's metanoia or change of heart. The Spirit is the one who makes all things new. And the newness I yearn to see is a newness in the churches themselves. Wow. For this to happen, the churches must confess their sins, beg forgiveness, be emptied, let go, and begin anew with the new but very ancient paradigm of the cosmic Christ. Gosh, I wonder if Pope Benedict is reading it. Because he had him removed, didn't he? Bless him. But we forgive Benedict. The churches need to beg the forgiveness of native peoples whose sense of the cosmic Christ was never lost. Forgiveness of lovers who have not been instructed in the ways of sexual mysticism that the Song of Songs celebrates. Forgiveness of youth who continue to be victims of adultism at the hands of so many Western institutions, including religious ones. Forgiveness of artists and the creative player in every adult. Forgiveness of women and others cheated of their spiritual heritage in an anti-mystical, anti-cosmic religious era. Once the churches have knelt and begged forgiveness, they must rise rapidly and begin contributing to the renaissance that the planet so desperately needs. They must lead with revitalized worship and with a revitalized commitment to a deep ecumenism flowing from a morality of reverence for all creation, that in turn is born of a mystical awakening about the awe, wonder, and radical amazement. And that's from Rabbi Abraham Heschel's phrase that our existence is all about. Wendell Berry wisely declares perhaps the great disaster of human history is one that happened to or within religion. That is the conceptual division between the holy and the world, the excerpting of the Creator from the creation. Mysticism is the cure to this religious dualism, yet mysticism has been ignored in most Protestant, Roman Catholic and Jewish theological training and leadership. This book attempts to offer a way of healing the dualism between science and religion, soul and cosmos, psyche and spirit, justice making and celebrating, theology and mysticism, God and us. If my thesis is correct that it is time to move from the quest for the historical Jesus to the quest for the cosmic Christ, this would help to diffuse the distorted religion and pseudo-mystical movement of our time, popularly known as fundamentalism and sometimes called Christofascism. I'd never come across that title before. Christofascism. Wow. Enlightenment theologians, also called liberals, are incapable of dealing with a cosmology because they owe more to Newton, Kant and Descartes than to the first century writers of the Gospels, who believed in a living cosmology and a cosmic Christ. That's fascinating. One result has been that these words are so big. Okay, let's have a go. Eschatological book of the Bible, wow. The book of Revelation has been left to the fundamentalists on the right and the secular Marxists on the left. The confusion Enlightenment theologians have regarding the issue of resurrection and the empty tomb also is due to a lack of cosmology. In this book I am calling for the dismantling of liberal religion and the regrounding of faith in a mystical, prophetic, cosmological worldview, a transformation and renewal, not merely a reformation or reshuffling of a tired agenda. A radical religious awakening worthy of being called a spiritual renaissance is one that critiques both psyche, mysticism and society, justice and prophecy, and it practices what it preaches. Well done, Matt. The coming together of the historical Jesus and the cosmic Christ will make Christianity whole at last. Wow. Christianity has been out of touch with its core, its center, its sense of mystical practice and cosmic awareness. It has succumbed to a patriarchal mindset that has eroded its worship, message, and identity, rendering them flat and lifeless. How tragic. It is almost weary and depressed as our civilization is. It needs the kind of dreams and visions that the prophet Joel promised would be available in abundance in the Messianic age. It needs the kind of renewal that John the 23rd dreamed of when he launched his revolution in the Vatican in the 1960s, and how well I remember them. Oh, do I remember Vatican II? Wow. Perhaps a new ecumenical council will be forthcoming in our lifetime. I don't think so, not with Benedict in charge. Not in the... But miracles do happen, and I'm all for them. Perhaps a new ecumenical council will be forthcoming in our lifetime. This one would be deeply ecumenical and would call forth the wisdom of all the world religions. Oh yes, and Teo should be in that. Oh yes. Teo should be at that, because we're uniting all religions to come together. Who could we send? Not me, because someone feisty. I think Sister Elizabeth of Philadelphia, she's the woman. This one would be deeply ecumenical and would call forth the wisdom of all the world religions. We've read that, brother. Part of its work might be to declare an ancient but forgotten doctrine, the cosmic Christ, the pattern that connects all the atoms and galaxies of the universe. Oh, gosh. A pattern of divine love and justice that all creatures and all humans bear within them. Ecumenical councils of the 4th and 5th centuries declared that Jesus Christ was both God and human. What is needed if there is to be a 21st century for Mother Earth and her children is a spiritual vision that prays, celebrates, and lives out the reality of the cosmic Christ, who lives and breathes in Jesus and in all God's children, in all the prophets of religions everywhere, in all creatures of the universe. What an amazing vision that is, to see an ecumenical council uniting all the world religions to bring back the cosmic Christ and embrace Mother Earth. That has got to be one of the most amazing events. But isn't it tragic when he talks about how the world religions, especially within the Christian tradition, the sacrileges that it's perpetrating through the denial of a truth that was preached by the early apostles. It doesn't make sense. This cosmic Christ will make things happen, will effect a change of heart, a change of culture, a change of ways. This cosmic Christ will lead the way to a deep sexuality, deep communication between young and old, deep creativity in lifestyles, work and education, deep worship, deep ecumenism and interaction among all religions of the planet. John of the Cross advised his listeners to launch out into the deep. It is time the human race did that. The problem is, you find within a lot of churchgoers, bless their hearts, they're so focused on the letter of the law than the spirit, which Sister Bonnie found when she went to our Franciscan center at the weekend. The Franciscan priests and nuns are so overwhelmed with sadness at what the Vatican is doing now in Rome, where it's oppressing and it's killing the spirit, but focusing on the letter of the law. And many of the American women religious are being absolutely almost castrated of a loving heart by a male-dominated church who has totally disregarded them. And it forgets, sadly, that women were bishops and priests ordained by Paul up until the Council of Nicaea. And through St. Augustine, at that council, when the edict was passed, they were absolved of their duties and sent back to have babies. What an indictment we have. I didn't realize that we had women priests and bishops up until the Council of Nicaea, but we did. We had a feminine priesthood. This is an amazing book, and Sister Teresa will be asking what it is in a minute. A cosmic Christ who does not accomplish the Renaissance I speak of is not the true Christ, but a false prophet, ushering in a pseudo-mysticism. By their fruits will you know them, Jesus advised. A true awakening to the cosmic Christ will effect genuine results. The most basic of these will be an awakening to the sacred. Sister Teresa, it's a shame you didn't come on earlier, and you would have known a little bit about this amazing book. It's an amazing book, Teresa. An amazing book. And that's all I can say. It really will grip you. But you see, the sad thing today, people spend a fortune on books, but they're not really getting the lesson. And to think that this was published in 1984. 84. And it's speaking today about the cosmic Christ. It spoke of the cosmic Christ in 84, and nobody's done anything, and the price he paid was to be ostracized from his office as a Dominican priest and theologian for speaking the word of God. It beggars belief. It's tragic. It's an abuse of God's power. But this man truly is Martin Luther King incarnated. And I've heard that many times, the inference to Martin Luther King and Matthew Fox. He writes so beautifully, and it's to the point. But he says, a cosmic Christ who does not accomplish the renaissance I speak of is not the true Christ, but a false prophet ushering in a pseudo-mysticism. By their fruits you will know them. Well, we found that in the Teo community. By their fruits you will know them. It's just a shame that people give up and give in to themselves instead of taking up their cross and following the beloved and listening to him. Ah well. Jesus advised a true awakening to the cosmic Christ will effect genuine results. The most basic of these will be an awakening to the sacred. And that's what's happened on the 21st of December. Sister Teresa, will you stop asking questions and please listen to what I'm saying? It's important. Thank you. This book is about the sacred and our response to reverence. The sacred what? The sacred everything, the sacred creation, stars, galaxies, whales and soil, water, trees, humans' thoughts, bodies, images. The holy omnipresence of the Divine One in all things. The Western term for this image of God present in all things is the cosmic Christ. Poet Gerard Manley, who is an amazing poet, Gerard Manley Hopkins, he put it this way: in a flash at a trumpet crash, I am all at once with Christ is. Since he was what I am, and this Jack, Joke, poor Potter shed patch, Matchwood immortal, diamond, is immortal diamond. What creature dare deny that it is an immortal diamond, an original blessing, an image of the Divine One? It is my experience that only the human species dares to deny its divinity, dare to deny the cosmic Christ. It is time, as Meister Eckhart put it, to deny the denial. Me, the cosmic Christ, in this resurrection, ascension, and sending of the Spirit to Mother Earth by way of a resurrected humanity, then we are in deep trouble indeed. In this sense, I frankly submit this book to religious thinkers and leaders as a judgment not of orthodoxy, but of orthopraxis. To what work and what action does a belief in the cosmic Christ lead? I believe that this book provides, not by any intention of my own, a judgment on religion itself. Can the churches themselves believe enough in the resurrection and in Pentecost to be resurrected and to become awakeners of the Spirit? Time is rapidly running out for Mother Earth and Mother Church. Gregory Bateson poses this sobering question to church and synagogue alike. Is the human race rotting its mind from a slowly deteriorating religion? I believe that a slowly deteriorating religion is one that ignores or forgets its own main sources, that underestimates the human capacity for evil. In our day, the human capacity for destroying Mother Earth and her children that fails to heal dualisms, but in fact encourages them, that bores the young, that fans fires of scapegoating and encourages the sin of projection, that cannot admit its own failures and mistakes, that stands impotent vis-a-vis the powers and principalities of society, that cannot celebrate and teach people to celebrate, that substitutes moralizing for mysticism, that has no cosmology and no interest in cosmology, that denigrates science's efforts to learn about creation, that ignores the artist, that commits adultism, sexism, or an anthropocentrism, big words, that condemns its own prophets, that alienates the Anwim to be, that alienates the Anawim, be they women, homosexual, the poor, lesbian, or the illiterate, that reduces worship to words, that offers no vision to a tired civilization, that has forgotten its dreams, that engages in death wishes, that fails to excite the child in adults and in youth, that fails to challenge the comfortable. If Jung is correct when he says that only the mystics bring creativity into religion, then the only way for religion is to resist going rotten, is to open up its heart and its theological mindset to the mystical once again. May the cosmic Christ redeem us from a mindless and mysticless religion. May the cosmic Christ lead us to a saner and less rational century. May the cosmic Christ bless us all so that we might be blessers instead of crucifiers of Mother Earth and the generations to come. That, I feel, is enough for now, because it is an extremely powerful book and it can cause, you can get oversaturation. A good time to stop, a good time to reflect. Thank you for joining me. Good night and God bless you.